All right, welcome back to the live stream. We are back in the shop, and you saw a little bit of an update the other day where we were working on the ceiling panel, the rearmost ceiling panel, getting that set up. And today's exciting because we're putting in the cedar ceiling. So before I get too far and do a bunch of work that you guys are not looking at or maybe have questions on, we're going to do a live stream today. It's going to be pretty long. We're going to go through the initial steps in setting up the center line, how I work off of that, how I actually also go through and make sure that there's the screw is in the center of the panel, making sure that everything looks visually appealing after everything's finished. And then what we're also going to do is we're going to hop on over to the computer here, and we're going to catch up on what I did kind of behind the scenes. So we're going to rewind that. First up, I want to talk about vanbuilderhq.com. I want to let you guys know that we have revamped the website, and so we got a nice new look. This is what it looks like if you guys haven't been over here in a while. I'd love for you guys to come check out the website, look at all the videos, the blog post. That's really what we work on behind the scenes, are writing these articles to help you out. So the true cost of a van conversion, how much solar do I need for my van, how to build a compact DIY power system, and there's just a ton of blogs that go on and on and on. So our goal this year is really to build this up, and not only being a resource for you to help you out with your van build journey, but the DIY van build cheat sheet is something that I'm really proud of. It's pretty much an Excel spreadsheet of the last 3 years of my Amazon purchases for the shop. It's always growing, and it's completely free. So all you got to do is just go to the website, click download, put your name and email address. It'll go right to your inbox. And it's just got a ton of information. Again, it's just a basic Excel sheet that's organized with all the products that I've bought. So solar components, roof components, fuses, breakers, solar panels, cabling, MC4 connectors, water pumps, you name it. It's probably on that list. Right now, it's a little over 250 items. Again, it's always growing. So more questions you guys ask online and through the channel, the more it grows. And one thing I'm going to be working on tomorrow is making sure to go through and answer your questions that you guys have posted into the channel. Just been super busy with the shows and the build and stuff like that. So I definitely want to dedicate some time to answering those questions and getting back to you guys, because there's a lot of good questions that you've been asking on the channel. Today we're going to be spent. It's going to be spent over here in the van. Like I said, we're going to do a wide shot, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to hop in, and then I'll zoom in so that you guys can actually see what I'm working on. So pretty much it'll be up here in the front, and I'll just go ahead and talk about it right now before I get in here. But what I'm doing is I'm starting the center board right here in the middle. Now I've done this in my personal van. That's the cedar ceiling that I'm pretty much copying. And the two challenges are, one, the low roof was easy because it's nice and flat. If you have a high roof, this you'll know that the front of the van has a really aggressive curve to it. So it makes it really challenging to have, you want to minimize this kind of bow that the front of the van has. So we'll address that. And then the next thing is identifying where the cross members are in the roof so that you can make sure that if you're using the cedar to actually become part of the roof itself, you can hit those cross members. That's not so important for me, because what I've done is I've reinforced the ceiling itself. Some people actually may just put the ceiling in raw to the steel of the roof or the van. That's what I did on my personal van. But for the one that I'm building for John and Susan, I'm taking it up a level. I wanted to make sure that the insulation is isolated. The ceiling panels that we have are a 1/4-inch panel that are pre-cut. So that technically is the finished ceiling. But for us, we want the visual of this cedar. Well, not only the visual, but it's going to smell amazing. The shop already smells amazing. I've already taken the cedar planks out. I'm going to grab the piece of paper that says the brand and everything so you guys can get an idea of what we're using. So here's the company, Pacific Knotty Cedar Planking. And so a heads up, there is a little bit of waste when you use this product. It's not expensive, but because it does have the knotty planking, you're going to make sure you want to look at the pieces of wood. And if the knots are actually loose and pop out, you don't want to use that piece. Use that piece for your offcuts towards the back of the van where there's a section that you need to be shorter. So I will probably have to go to the store and buy maybe 2 more packs of this. So each pack has 6 pieces, and they're 1/4 inch thick by 3.5 inches wide, 8 feet long, which is actually perfect for a Ford Transit van. And you're going to see that here in a second. So you're going to see that the board comes from the front of the van, and then it comes towards the back, and it's going to stop right after the Max fan, and it stops right on the cross member. So you're going to be able to tie it into somewhat of a structure, and it's going to be secure. And one thing that I'll be showing you guys is, if you know me, I'm really picky on how things look in the end. So forward thinking, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the pieces of wood. Let me grab a piece real quick. So here's the piece of wood, and what we're going to do is, if you can see here, we're pre-drilling the pieces of wood. Now, this is our sacrificial piece. So I was saying to you that some of these have knots and holes right there. And the knotty cedar is really nice, but some of these, the holes come out. So you don't want to use that. So this is our gauge piece. And we're going to be using this throughout the video to pre-drill all of our holes. We don't want this to split because it is so thin. It's very thin. And now you're going to, if you've done this for the first time, I actually might do it, but this actually, see this right here? See how this breaks off? So you're going to have to be really careful. Now, what we're doing to combat that is we're actually gluing these to the ceiling. So this actually will be a glued structure of the ceiling, and we're using tight bond wood glue. So my recommendation is do not use the waterproof glue. The bonding strength, and this is just my research, is that the bonding strength of the tight bond 2 or 3 is great for waterproof applications, but for bond strength, it's not as high of a bond as the original tight bond glue. So we're going to be using the original that's with the red cap. I guess I could grab that for you. So this is the one we want to use. It's Tight Bond Original Wood Glue. So this is the original. Now, if you're doing exterior construction or something like that, this is like what I use on the exterior of the shop, like if I was doing like repair, roof repair or something like that. Where something is, you only get wet and rained on. The inside of your van should not get rained on. So this is, we want the bond strength versus this. Now, again, that's just my research. You may have a different opinion, which is completely fine. But now we're going to hop into the van and we're going to get started. I'm I'm going to work on moving the camera here a little bit, so bear with me, and yeah, we'll get started. All right. Just checking my audio there. So stay with me. This thing's going to look weird for a minute. And feel free to ask any questions you have in the chat. We're gonna be going long today just because well, we got a lot of work to do in the shop. Okay. Rotate this. Let's see if I can get this closer and higher. Don't really want to put the camera in the van because it's going to be in my way. Okay. So let me get back to the computer. I'm going to straighten the camera up and we're going to get started. I can't tell you how good this cedar smells right now. It smells very nice. Okay, before we hop in, I'm actually I forgot to play the video for you of what we did yesterday. So let's hop onto the computer. Let me show you that. So what we're doing here is, where's the video? All right. So this is what I did the other day. The back panel, after it was cut, drilled, and all that good stuff, and traced from the pneumatic, so the roof is completely done. I didn't film doing the final sealant and the max fan install. The max fan was very straightforward. It's just 4 screws, but that's done. The only thing left is the rearmost panel and then plugging in the solar. So we probably won't be going back up to the roof unless I'm telling you how I'm waiting on a fuse, an inline MC4 connector fuse to come in from Amazon. I needed one more. Anyway, so this is the top. Went through and did the sound deadening for the ceiling. And then I did my final electrical wire runs for the rear 12-volt lights. Now, because this ceiling is very low profile, the wires are going to be, we're having to route them through this top channel. And then, so actually this wire is in the wrong spot. I've already moved it to here. And then this rear wire back here, it's ready to go for the rear lights. So that's a good thing to think ahead is, where your wire's going to go when this really low profile ceiling gets pushed up and bolted in. What's nice about this AVC rig supports here on the left and right, you can see why they're so critical, is because they tie your ceiling in and they make up for that weird transition that Ford has on the left and right hand side of the van. But we'll fast forward, and a little hack that I use to hold in the Havelock is masking tape. Some people use plastic landscape netting. They use yarn, string. There's a lot of creative ways to hold this up while you're working on it. I found masking tape it's the simplest. And, nothing's wrong with it just kind of hanging out there for forever. So I use that. And then I'm really making sure that everything gets stuffed, but not with a lot of pressure because we want it to loft, stay fluffy so that it really makes a good, its thermal value is good. It's not smushed. So we're putting those pieces in, and I gave myself enough room here width-wise. I've not built a box, an insulated box for a rooftop air conditioner before. All the air conditioners that I've installed have had their own chamber, such as a Dometic RTX 2000. So this will be interesting. I just gave myself a little bit of room. I can always go back and put more insulation in there. But as we move back here, we've got that insulation in. Now, you guys have seen, I also didn't cover the carpeting. So the carpeting, the back has got the 4-way stretch carpet already implied. That has to go in because these cedar boards that are going in today will butt up right up against that. We did that in Thomas's van, Marine 1, to give us a nice, super clean reveal. And then that way it just looks very professional. We have the wood butting up to the upholstery, and it's just the transition is the way you would expect it from a high-end build. And then coming a little bit more, I'm just going through and doing some cable management. So next, even though Havelock is natural, you do want to, when you start disturbing it a lot, you're going to want to put on some, like a mask, because it does get kind of irritating. But right now I'm just prepping my bolts to get the panel in. And what's nice about putting these riv nuts in is I can do this by myself. I can get bolts and have them hold the top panel in place. And then that way I can just take my time with setting the screws where I need to. Now keep in mind, this panel is going in forever. So making sure, so what I did that I changed my mind on yesterday was I usually don't cut these holes out ahead of time, but I went ahead and cut out the holes for the lights. And you may be wondering why the lights aren't wider. So why aren't they going more left and more right? Well, on the left-hand side, we have a shelf that's going in. And so, again, thinking ahead, you don't want to light. If you've ever had like recessed lighting or ceiling lighting, you don't want that light being so close to a wall or a feature of something, because it makes this weird reflection. So keeping it closer to the middle, it's going to dissipate the light. It's going to look nice and even. So we've got a light here, here, and here. We did a little bit of that yesterday in the live stream, but we've already pulled through the rear wire. So this wire is going to supply power for the two rearmost lights in this panel, and the front wire is the front two. Now you can see right here, they're coupled right here. So these two will be Wago connected together. And then there's a third wire, which is going to be the dimmable switched controlled wire, which will go all the way to the EcoFlow, and it'll be switched to the power switch. And that way I can actually provide power to it and dim it all in the same circuit. And we'll go over that later. But as you can see, I've got all my wires in the max fan area, and these wires right here allow me to access them before I finally, close everything up. And you can actually see on the left-hand side, we've got a bunch of wires in this van. Surprisingly, there's a lot of wire in this van. We have just a very nice, clean setup, but we got a lot of wires. And as soon as we get the ceiling in, we'll do a stream where we actually go over everything that's in this van, because I think it's a really great layout. Last but not least, we got the big chunky 6-gauge wire for the 48-volt Nomadic X2 air conditioning unit. So that one needs to come out. I've got an Anderson connector ordered on the way. It'll be here Monday. And I was just going to do a barrel crimp. There's a splicing piece of hardware that you can buy for these high gauge cables. It's really for cable repair, but you can do it for an install. But I just want to go with the Anderson connection. Just in the future, if there's ever a reason we needed to remove this or unplug it, we wouldn't be cutting the wire. We could just unplug the wire. So we've got a 6-gauge Anderson connector coming in. And you can Google that if you don't know what that looks like. Yeah, so that's what we have set up. Is there anything else? Max fan cables. We'll get rid of all this masking tape, get it all out of the way. So yeah, that's what I worked on. So the ceiling is yeah, we're just going to go. Now we're going to hop back in the van and we're going to glue in our first piece of cedar. So really exciting. All right, I think this is a pretty good view. Might zoom in just a little bit. This is a digital zoom, so you know how that goes. Let's see if I can go a little bit more. Okay, I think that's going to be okay. All right, I'll check that out on my phone. We'll just do that to get started. I'll have my phone in the van, so if you guys have a question, I'll see it come through the chat. All right, let's hop onto the other microphone. Check 2, there we go. All right, now the hardest part of this whole process is going to be, I already tried it yesterday, so this live stream may be pretty entertaining for you guys because on a flat roof, this is not an issue, but this is the high roof and the curve is very aggressive, so we're just gonna have to see. We're just going to have to see how this plays out. So again, this first piece installed, again, very straightforward, very easy. All right, a couple of tools that I have. Again, we have this piece right here. This is allowing us to make sure that we get my camera so I can see my framing. Yeah, so this piece right here, this is our gauge. Anything that's marked out in black, that's a no drill zone. Now, one reason we put this ceiling in like this is now we can drill into this. However, these black areas let us know that if we were trying to grab onto the metal rib,
this might answer your question.
Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. She's looking up blackberries. That's hilarious. Okay, so this strip, these black, we're not going to drill there. Where these screws are, if we need, so this rib, they're not going to disrupt the curve. Now back here, they're going to be more prominent. So this middle place where I had screws, they're going to be taken out, but they will be replaced with these black stainless screws that are actually going to be the finishing screw and the screw that actually holds everything together. So this is just, again, a gauge, a strip to help us know what's behind the ceiling that we can't see anymore. So I made one for Thomas's, but this one is the one I custom made for this fan. So that's how I found out where to screw. All right, so we'll be using that from time to time. Next, we need a centering block. So this centering block is going to allow us to just double check where our center is on the piece of cedar. Now, because we're using our, I left it over here. Because we're already using a template piece that's been pre-drilled that we're going to use to match all of our pieces, we just want to double check it before we drill a hole, because if not, we're going to be going back to Home Depot a bunch of times to get some more pieces that we messed up on. So this one is the piece, this is what I'm using to actually go through and, let's see, that's the rearmost. Okay, I'm gonna back up a little bit on the camera because you guys can't see what I'm talking about. I'm gonna add one more light just so you guys can see a little bit better. Okay, that looks great. So you guys can actually see my the center line. So that's not a center line, it's the line so I can visually see the outside. So right here is where my wood piece is going to go. So what I've done is I've already taken, turn this piece around. So I've already got my template stick. So my template piece has got an arrow. So this is what I'm going to use to pre-drill all the pieces. In this live stream, we're probably only going to be able to do 1, 2, 3. We're probably going to do 5 pieces of cedar. But that'll be enough so you guys kind of get the point and understand how to do this if it's something that you wanted to do. Now all we're going to do is just put a bit of glue down the middle. And then we're going to pop it up there. And we want to put, I'm not really going to put almost any glue right here towards the front of the van because obviously I don't want it to drip on the upholstery. I'm also covering up this measurement. So what I did here was there is a support piece behind here and it's 2.5 inches and it's 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. It's a piece of Baltic birch. That is what I'm going to be drilling into. So anytime that you make a number or mark, maybe take a picture on your phone so that you don't actually forget about it. If you do see knots, I wouldn't actually, don't put any glue on the knots. Because it's probably going to leak through. Now, from the front of this piece, I'm going to change the camera angle again. Stay with me. The YouTube stuff, I'm telling you, it's hard to get something to where I feel like you guys can actually see what I'm trying to show you here. See what that looks like. Okay, I think that's much better. Can you see the wood? Okay, great. You can actually see my work surface. Okay, the front part of this piece of wood, we're going to put a little bit more glue. Just because this front part has that aggressive angle to it. E-Transit, that's cool. All right, so this front piece, as you guys can see here, we've got a little bit of, got the glue kind of zigzagging coming through. And this is going to be a very flush fit. So again, we're not going to have to use that much glue. But since we're using wood glue, I mean, this is going to pretty much turn this into one solid piece of wood. Again, in Thomas's build, I used epoxy, but his was a different scenario because we used 1/2-inch pine boards, and I really needed a very good bonding strength. This stuff is very light, so I'm pretty happy with the way this looks. All right, let's see here. The first thing I need to do is, I've been moving the stuff around so much, I need to make sure my holes are right. Okay, good. We are good to go. Okay, so we're using number 10, 1-inch stainless black painted. These are self-tapping screws. Now, this is what I'm using. Technically, just a regular non-self-tapper would be good for this application, but since we're gluing it, I'm okay with the self-tapping end of it. We're going to go ahead and get our supports lined up. So what I'm using are, these are zip wall supports, and they're going to be my second hand to hold this up while I put this board in. And it's okay if we make a mess on the ceiling because, I mean, we're not going for that, but what I'm saying is we're covering the whole thing up. So okay. So right here in the middle. Now, one thing we don't want to do is cover our screw hole, because that would be dumb. Okay. All right, now what I have in the ceiling is I have a way to center this piece. Oh, you're welcome, Vincent. Yeah, I love teaching, as you guys can tell, and it's fun to have everybody watch the live stream as I build. So one challenge in this van is going to be the fact that I need to, this has a crown kind of here at the front. So making sure that these pieces of wood actually go in the way that I want them to go in is going to be interesting. So we might have just a slight stair step coming down through here, but yeah, we'll just take our time and actually, let me back this up. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come forward a little bit more. Okay. So now, what I did is I just pushed the board forward more. I'm putting these clamps on here nice and easy because I need to just keep adjusting my center line. This one takes the longest because this has to be right, this center one, because the other ones are just going to follow it. So I'm going to try to see, the hole that I drilled here is, I actually need it to shift upwards. I'll change the camera here in just a minute. Okay, when we come over to the max fan, this part may be a little challenging, and the reason is because we need room for the max fan, but you're going to want to drill the wood into where the max fan is, just so it's not loose. So I'm just grabbing my max fan, and I'm just going to do just a quick little bit of mark, just to tell me kind of where I can drill. Now nobody's going to see this, so I'm going to be changing over to just a lathe screw. But keep in mind that you have wires behind here. Don't go too far to the edge and split your thin wood. But then just also understand that when you go to cut this with your multi-tool, that's how you're going to have to address this area. And when you use your multi-tool, this is going to help you cut it out. Okay. So that screw is basically there just to hold this together, let it, let the glue dry, all that good stuff. Vincent, I am going to cover the max fan. You're not going to be able to get to it. It's an internal max fan. I can see where somebody may actually just cover the whole max fan. I mean, that would be pretty funny. Vincent brought up a good point. Label your wires and make sure that every wire that you had hiding in the ceiling is exposed. So we got our max fan, our 12 volt rear LEDs, and then this is our 12 volt, we got 3. So this is our power supply. So these will all be combined, and then this is our max fan, and this is our power. So everybody's accounted for, nobody's hiding. Make sure that these wires don't get drilled into. Let's put one more screw back here. Now, if I could say there's a part where we're doing the best that is possible, it's this part that you can't see back here. I'll show it to you in a second. But there is going to be one seam in this roof. It's back in the bedroom. And that's just the way it is with this design. And I'm actually drilling into some metal here, so. But we also want to be on the lowest clutch setting possible. Just don't strip anything out. Let's see here. Yeah, if you're building in cold weather, I can see how you wouldn't want to actually get out there. Yeah, I'm fortunate I do have a air-conditioned shop. It wasn't originally air-conditioned, and I thought I'd be fine. And then, because I built it in the summer, or renovated it in the summer, and then I just had a heater for the winter, and I was like, yes, it's not too bad. And then the summer came, and I was like, oh, that was a mistake. Okay. All right, so we got 2 screws here. We could cut this as we go. That probably would be I'd rather cut it later after the glue dries. So I'll cut this out tomorrow. I'm multitasking here. I've got some stuff that I'm doing. So I have to come back to this. Let's see here. Just making sure I know where to cut. Okay, let's see. Yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions as I'm doing this. All right, the next part is the hardest part because I practiced this yesterday, and that's trying to get the tongue and groove into the tongue and groove. And I was doing it late last night, and as you can see, I quit. So, all right. So let's select our next piece just to see. Let's find a really good piece. And then make sure you have the finished side up, rough side down. That way you don't have any blowout with the drill bit. I'm wondering if I can get a better, I'm always looking for a better camera angle. That pole's right in the way. All right, we've got this pre-drilled, so this will be our next one. And again, this is the tough part because the question really is how is this going to go into the slot? I'm not forgetting the glue. I'm just trying to look at, man, okay. I think it's because I didn't have the other one drilled in last night when I was testing it, and that was making me think that this was going to be a pain in the butt. Okay, it's in the groove, but it's a little offset from where I wanted it to be, so get like this little tapping block. I'm gonna see if I need to move it about 1/8 of an inch forward, but I don't want to knock it out of the groove because it was, as you guys can see, it was a little tricky getting it in there in the first place. Okay. All right. That looks like where home's going to be. Okay, so now I can kind of back off on this back section and I can get it into the groove. So there we go. All right. It's not going to be that crazy. This is in my low roof. When I did this, I could actually just sit down on a stool and put the ceiling in. This is a, if you guys have done any type of overhead work, it drains you very quickly. Again, I got my torque on this drill set on just lowest setting. Just because if I come through, I can come through and tighten it with the screwdriver manually. That's usually that's what I would recommend for anyone. probably gonna change my mind on the cutting this out after it dries. I'm probably gonna just continue. Okay. And one in the back. So, in my experience, you have to be extremely meticulous with this roof install because if you rush, you're going to get yourself into a issue. Like this ceiling issue right here. So you gotta be careful where these go into the sheet metal because they can, everything is very brittle. You're trying to keep your roof nice and lightweight and low profile, but just like what I just encountered here, I'm trying to actually, this one is actually one that goes into the sheet metal. And so it's good because it provides structure to the van. It's bad because you can mess up, move, and split the wood. So these are raw cedar right now. We're debating between to put an oil seal, something natural. So I'm just keeping it natural until the customer and I can, you know, if they want to change the decision on that. I've kept mine in my van just natural for about past 3 years, and it's been completely fine. The thing about wood is, in my opinion, is as long as it's secured really well, it's not really going to warp or anything like that. I've taken my van into some very, very wet conditions, left the doors open for a whole entire day while my friends and I have been camping, and I haven't had any, I've never had any warping issue or anything like that. All right, I'm gonna get the multi-tool and I'm gonna cut out this, this piece right here. I'm gonna turn my mic down. I'm not sure how loud this is gonna be. Okay, on to our next piece of wood. Find our next candidate here. All right, Gary, so this is a customer build. So the customer came to me and commissioned me to build this van. Now, it was a rare situation, but I actually had a van that I had purchased for my business in stock in the shop. And that van was perfect for their application. So this is the van that we're doing. The one that I have for sale is the Adventure van, and that van is the one that we took to Peace Loving Vans to show off. And so that one is the one that's on odysseycustomvans.com's website. So that one is currently for sale. But this one is John and Susan's van. And this van will actually have the brand new 48 volt EcoFlow system in it, which I'm really excited to hook up. I'm so excited to hook it up that I want to get to it faster. But building a van takes time, and especially like this ceiling, you do not want to rush this, as you guys can kind of tell from this install live. You can see what it takes. But if you would like to have your own custom van built by me, all you have to do is head on over to the website and click on the link at the bottom of the page. I think there's another link at the top of the page, but you can schedule a consultation with me. And it's really just to go over your ideas. You know, it's nothing. I always love for it to be official, but at the same time, you know, if you're just if you're planning on building a van in a couple months, it's just a good way to get on a conversation or start a conversation to get some ideas of what it's going to take to get an adventure van or a camper van, however you want to design it. Because every van's different, it's very personal, and that's something I've learned over the years is it's a very personal not only decision, but personal build. Now you guys can see this little tiny hairline split right there. We're going to fix that, but like I was saying, this wood is extremely fragile. There's nothing wrong with it. It's that this is just the material that's required for this type of job. I mean, if you can imagine how much it would weigh to put a 1/2 inch, I mean, would not even consider a 3/4 inch plywood in the ceiling. Just imagine how much that weighs in a van. So, yeah, we're just gonna put a little bit of wood glue on here, and we'll get this, and then we'll just sand it after we're done, and it'll be all good. So kind of like a pro tip, you can actually you can jigsaw a couple pieces, and then you take the dust from the pieces you jigsawed. So you take that dust and then you use that to fill in the holes, and it'll give you a nice finish, like it never even happened. All right, so I want to support this rear section right here. I just applied a little bit of glue. Yeah, let me know how the EcoFlow power system works out for you. I'm interested. Okay, so I've got the glue. Okay, so that's looking good. All right, let's check our gaps, and then let's continue. Let's check how we doing back here. Yeah, if you guys stay on the live stream, I'll just keep on going. Helps me with the motivation. Keep on going with this ceiling install. All right, let's get some screws in here. The back section, we've got a little bit of an 1/8 inch gap. So what we're going to do is when we come back here to amend this gap area, I'll show you how to do that. And by the way, if you guys are wondering, Gary, you were asking about if it's a custom build, a pre-ordered, or personal van. Again, custom build, and we're located in Hickory, North Carolina. All right, so the front gap is good, but as we go through and we put our screw in, make sure you're pushing this in. And giving this a place to actually come together. Because once you get to these outside edges, you're going to have to really be committed. Yeah, Gary, reach out for sure. It's I would love to yeah, build your van live. It's fun to do it because I like to teach, number one, but two, I like to hear the feedback. You know, it's YouTube. You guys can imagine some of the feedback, but you know, mostly it's good because it helps you maybe change your mind on things that you're really stuck on. So being open to doing something a little bit differently. But yeah, let me paste this Odyssey Custom Vans link in here. Let's see here. Stay with me, guys. I'm just going to put this link in here. All right, there you go, guys. That is the link to schedule. And as soon as I'm building John and Susan's van, I'm actually going to be working on some how-to videos. So I'll have some time to work on that. Super busy right now, but in April, I'm going to be working on those videos. And so when those launch, those are going to be really exciting because you can actually, I'll teach you how to build your van. We've already asked a question on a poll to see what you guys would like in a van building course. And I think the questions were, you know, do you want me to teach you how to do kitchen, power, walls, roof, and you guys said everything. So okay, yeah, this rear side is going to be really nice because I'm actually positively screwing into the roof. It's pretty it's I don't want to say it's rare, but I planned on hitting this. Sometimes you can't because you're more focused on the visual versus the structural, and but we nailed it actually. Each one of these screws back here is into the roof support, which is really, really good. And so my advice to you guys is if you can make the whole roof as if it was one piece, try to do that. Because I don't know where you're going to be taking your van. I don't know if you're going to be going down, you know, on a highway or a mountain road. I'm trying to make it as burly as I can do it, and so everything doesn't fall apart. As Humble Road says, it's an earthquake on the inside and a hurricane on the outside. Okay, I'm going to cut this piece out, turn my mic down. Don't cut your wires. Okay, we're back. All right, let's take a look at the work so far. Let's see how everything's looking. It smells so good in here. It smells good. All right, I'll take these supports off so you guys can kind of check out the progress. So hopefully it's obvious, but the reason we're not coming all the way to the back is we ran out of wood, but we're not going to. We'll do this back section in a separate install because unfortunately each one of these pieces is pretty much going to have to be custom to get the right look. All right, so now what we can do is I'm using my test block and I'm just going through to make sure where my screws are going to land. And then we're going to use this, our little gauge right here. And the good news is we're going to be hitting metal support right here. So that's going to be perfect. We'll take our gauge block over here. And we're also, so that one we're probably going to miss. So literally it's hit or miss. So that's why you need to make the structure in first and then the things that look nice second. Because just because it, sometimes they don't go hand in hand. So if your goal is for it to look nice, you'll need to do some more work on the back end or ahead of time. And then if you're not really cared about what it looks like, you can probably go straight for wherever your support needs to be. But what we're going to do on this right side is we're going to take this out. Okay, we need to take this out. Be really careful with this headliner. It's a no do-over if you get glue on it or whatever. So again, we're going to be winning on this part because we'll be able to I'm actually going to have to drill this back in. All right, now we got a clear path for this next piece to go into. My microphone keeps falling off. All right, do we have a piece that is worthy? This one looks pretty good. Alexa, set AC to 74.
Thermostat is set to 74.
A little hot. A little hot in here. All right, guys, I messed up my first piece. I put the tongue and groove on the wrong side when I drilled my pilot holes, so make sure we double check our work. Technically, I could have used it, but it's on the rough side, and yeah, we don't want to do that. I'll probably have to go and get another pack, but there's already like 4 pieces in the pack that they've got knots that have got holes in them, and they're not ones I'm going to use. Oh yeah, Chicago's cold. It's still on the heat setting, if that matters. It's not. It's heating at 74. It's not. Not AC. Okay. All right. So we got this one. Just get some glue on here. I'm trying not to jinx myself, but I have not got a bunch of glue on the headliner. Yeah, that would just be the worst. All right, here we go. Just gonna keep on moving, but now we need to move. Now we got to move the wires out of the way. All right, so I'm gonna hide you. Okay, just mental note, when we get back over here, we need to make sure that we don't go through the wires. Make sure we push them out of the way. Okay, all of our screws are out. Check. All right, looks good. Oh, that was close. I got a little bit of glue on some of these places, so I'm just gonna have to go back and lightly sand that down. Okay, looking good. You have to really make sure that we push this front part in over here. Yeah, each one of these pieces of cedar is it's unique. Sometimes they're straight as an arrow. Sometimes they have a slight warp to them, but they're so thin that you can manipulate them pretty easy. Now again, I'm a little OCD as far as this. You could just pop this in there, if you wanted to. But yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out what to do with this front strip here. Yeah, we'll get the whole thing done, and if we need to do some type of like a decorative half-inch piece, we might do that. So one thing I would suggest is painting this black so that this little 1/8 to 1/16 inch little reveal here. I mean, it looks good. I'm overdoing it on that part. All right, let's move on to the back. Yeah, if there's anything that you want to hide, and not because you messed up, well, maybe it's because you messed up. Painting it black, so maybe this like panel over here, for example, if we didn't get a chance to upholster it, this might be something that we wanted to paint black. However, we are going to upholster it, so we're going to come from here down on these last pieces, and that way our board that goes up here, there won't be a reveal. You'll just it'll be nice and clean. All right, so up here, I need to make sure we're pushing in. So this one's good. You hear that pop? So this one is going to be its own into the metal. Yeah, Gary, I do modifications on currently, like a van that you want to do a modification. For example, when John and Susan came to me before this build, they were looking at a pre-built that they wanted to modify. And I actually did, I said, hey, let me look at the van personally just to make sure that you guys are good to go. I traveled, I looked at the van that they were looking at. It looked incredible in the photos. I mean, paint was amazing, full build out, solar on the roof, dual rear axle Ford Transit. But underneath it, it had a ton of rust, and I mean, a lot of rust. And although it was really nice on the inside and outside, it was way too much rust than I would be comfortable with somebody owning. So yeah, modifications to something that you bought, or if you have a used van that you find, or a new van that you find, and you want to get it built out, I can go that whole entire process through it for you on Thomas's build. So check out the Marine 1 build on the channel. So that's Thomas's van. He's a Marine, and in his build, he bought the van new, and we went through all the, learning how the financing worked, how getting the build out done separately, all this stuff. So that was a big learning a couple of years ago doing that. So as far as the experience going to get the van, getting the loan to do the build, that whole entire process, I've already been through it. Even insurance. So a lot of the shows I go to, I found so Outdoorsy and Go Camp, they actually created, now this is what I've learned, don't take my word for it, but they created their own, I think, underwriter group so that they could underwrite insurance for those two rental companies. Because as you can imagine, if you have two big rental companies and you're trying to, it's kind of like, what is the car company I'm thinking? Like Turo. Like Turo has its own underwriters that provide insurance when you rent a car. So Outdoorsy and Go Camp have their own similar situation to where they can provide you insurance on your rented vehicle. But not only that, to the consumer, I've got a contact you could reach out so that when your build's done, if your insurance that you personally have is not going to help you convert it to an RV coverage for the components on the inside, then this company can help underwrite a policy for you. Now, real quick, we'll get back to the ceiling. If you have car insurance, it's going to protect the vehicle, but if you haven't itemized the interior of your van and the components inside, there's a fine line between what's covered and what's not covered. Typically that inside will be covered, but you'll have to convert the policy to an RV policy, which is doable. But some people assume that if they have car insurance, that it's going to protect what's inside their van if they do a build out, and that's not necessarily true all the time. So just something to consider. But yeah, I've been through all those processes, and yeah, that kind of comes with the territory in doing custom builds, because you are modifying something that is not technically an RV. So it is custom. But yeah, hope that answers your question. Where was I? Now, you guys don't know this that are probably watching right now, but we have a whole stackable unit that's going here. And so there's kind of a give and take. Do you put the unit in and then build the ceiling, or do you put the ceiling in and then build the unit? So I'm putting the ceiling in and then building the unit. And I'm going to I'll contour it to the ceiling, because I think, in my personal opinion, that's best practice. Make sure my audio is still good. Okay, good. Okay, so this part gets interesting because we're skipping, well, we're not skipping it, but we need to be cognizant of how we are transitioning where our screws are, so we don't put a screw hole outside of the max fan trim ring and make it look like we messed up. So heads up on that. So let's see here. So I'm going to take a square. I'm going to go on the inside. Okay, and I've got an inch and, see, an inch and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, inch and 5/8. Get the glue off. All right, so I got an inch and 5/8. So I need to come over here. I'm going to measure 1.5 inches. Okay, so that. So I'm going to go to 1.5 inches and 1.5 inches. And I'm going to drag this down. Now this is in the way. So by doing this, using a square, I'm going to be able to use this as my line to find out where I'm cutting my max fan out. Highly recommend you do this. I guess a pro tip would be don't guess where you can't see. And I drew this line over here a little too long, so I'm gonna have to sand that, clean that up. Let's see here. All right, let's get our wires out of the way. Turn my mic down. We'll cut that. Well, let's get some screws in there. This is also going to show you where you can put your screws. I'm just pre-drilling the ceiling, not the roof. And we want these screws in here so we don't crack, don't split the cedar. Okay, all the lines are out of the way. My other microphone had a mute button. This one doesn't, so I have to run back and forth. Okay, we're back. We're going to clamp this piece right here. So at least this joint we'll let this joint glue overnight. That's the nice part about keeping all this raw is you can kind of control what you're clamping and not clamping. Okay, let's do the right side. So I like to go even, middle to outside, because when you deal with one problem over here, you pretty much know the solution for the right side. Whereas if you go here, you take a break and you come back, maybe you forgot. All right. So I think I'm gonna have to open up a new pack of wood because that pack is all done. Tell you guys, the shop smells so good right now. So if I can remember correctly, the strong cedar smell lasted about a full year in my van until it kind of tapered off. All right, that looks like a perfect next piece. All right, here we go. And as you're selecting your pieces, I know you guys can't see this, but really make sure that the tongue part of this is not split, because it'll kind of hide on you, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh man, that is split. All right. Okay. Again, make sure our orientation's right, because we... All right, space nice. And for you guys watching, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you enjoy it. Hit that like button for me. One thing that's really good is to share the video. So if you know somebody that's working on a ceiling or something like that in a van, sharing this video to somebody, that's a really good thing to help out. Now we haven't cut the lights out in the front of the van, and so that's on purpose. But we will be doing that. We'll be doing that shortly. Okay, a little too much glue. I got a little glue happy on that one. Let's see. Where are we at glue-wise? All right, actually we have our first hole. Okay, first light hole. No time like the present to show you guys how I'm going to do that. All right. Okay, so here is the mock-up of the light hole right there. So we've got our puck light. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this piece in. We're going to glue it in. But we need to have something with reference marks so that when we go to match the hole that we pre-cut out, so we're going to use this little template for our holes up here too. So there's a piece here, but I want to go wider with these lights because I want them to go over the kitchen galley. So there'll be a different location than the rear, but that's okay. But this has like... I've got these lines on here. I'm going to see if I can darken them up. So these lines are my centering lines for when I drilled the hole. And then pretty much all I got to do is use this. And the reason you want it to be in the tongue and groove is imagine that, let's see here. Pull this out. Okay. Let's find a place to stuff this wire. Okay, I didn't label that wire, which is a big no-no. So I got my label maker here. This is 12-volt rear LED, 12 volt from rear LED. Okay. Here, this way, that's coming through, so this, I don't want to, when I stuff this up here, if it's coming out of the hole, I know that's where it goes, but once it gets stuffed up here, if I forget, that would suck. All right, let's get our template. Let's get our... Well, hold on one second. I might have to pause the live stream. I think I got delivery out here. All right. Here, go in here, Nova. All right, false alarm. We are back. Got a delivery coming, so sometimes there's no windows in the back side of the shop. All right, here we go. We're back. Let's do this hole here. Okay, so I've got the hole in place. Now what I'm going to do is draw a line. And so these two lines are going to allow me to center this hole now. Okay, make sure the cable's out of the way. All right, now we can actually take the piece of wood and we can put it back in here. All right. We just need to make sure we have this outside reference line for this direction. It's easy to find the halfway point between the piece of wood. It's hard to locate the front to back location of that cable for the light. Also, do you notice how easy it was for me to put my hand in here and go through here to feed the light? So having that close to the max fan, that helps out. The rear lights are going to be more difficult, but they'll be okay. All right, so we're going to continue with the install. Okay, because we got distracted, we did not take out the screw. So let's take that screw out. So we got that screw, we got these two screws. Okay. Should be good to go now. Okay, the back's good on this one. Something's keeping it from going in here. I think it's just warped a little bit. But the front one's good, so we'll put the front one in, and then we'll just work our way back. And then we'll drill a hole for our first LED light, which that will be exciting. That'll be a win for us for sure. Okay. All right, that's good. Right here's where we have a little bit of a bow. Gotta be really careful because I don't want to split anything. Actually, it's seated really good in the front. Huh. We're starting to curve, so it's good. It's like it's like a 32nd of an inch. You just want to, if you can make it perfect, you need to make it perfect. That's kind of my rule. Awesome. It's coming together. It's getting exciting. Oh, we missed one back here. All right, getting the hole saw out. Let's drill our first light, puck light. First puck light hole. It's an odd size. It's going to be a 2 1/4 inch. Typically, hole saws are like 2 3/8, 2 1/2. At least that's my experience. Okay, so let's identify where our hole's got to be. Okay, so right here, let's get our square. Very lightly go in the center. Let's make a mark. And for this one, remember we got our little cheat block that's got our center line pre-drawn on it, and make sure the tongue is on the right side, the groove's on the right side. And then pretty much we can just go up here and mark that. Okay. Just gonna do a little hit with a drill so we got our place marked. We can go ahead and take this out. We want to go full speed with this, by the way. As we have a dead drill. Okay, that's our first puck light in. Looks pretty good. Okay, we'll take this guy out. So what's nice about these is you can pull them out. We'll have this on a Wago connector, so if one of these burns out, you literally just pull it out just like that, and just move on with doing whatever you need to do. I'm gonna pull that wire through just so we know what's up. Make sure you check for drips. So I need to wipe this glue off because I don't want it to dry. It makes putting these boards in on the side pretty hard to get in. Just dries. All right, guys, I'm moving to the fancy microphone. Let's move the camera here and take a look at our work. So you see this edge we'll have to take care of later, but this is pretty much what this looks like as of right now. We just got a nice curve. Now again, this is a bad angle in my opinion. It looks much shorter. The screw holes are very tightly packed together, but they're much further spread out. So hopefully, what I'll do is I'll show this to you guys later. Now I was going to do a crown here. So basically I was going to stagger these joints around this edge, but it's really hard because then this back part doesn't line up. So this back part's actually more important than the front part. I know that sounds weird, but this front part we can put a 1/2 inch trim strip because that it looks more aggressive here than it is. So, for example, once it comes around here, we'll be able to cover that. So that's probably my plan, is I'll glue something into place after this is all said and done. But yeah, this curve right here is pretty challenging because you can go with the curve, but the problem on the front of the Ford Transit is there's these 2 notches. So this notch goes up and it's really big right here. So unless you want the ceiling to come down about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch, you're probably not going to get rid of this. And we've already got the 1/4 inch here. We've already got this. And we just I don't want to come down anymore with the ceiling than I have to. Yeah. All right, guys, that is going to do it for today's live stream. Just want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far, yeah, if you guys are interested in doing a custom build with me, reach out to that link that I put in the chat below. I'll post it in there one more time. That is a link to schedule a consultation with me if you are looking to do a custom build, which I'd be excited to do for you. Also, don't forget to check out Van Builder HQ. Want to get you guys on the website, checking it out. Want you to download this free cheat sheet. I think it's really going to help you out if you're kind of looking for some parts to get started. The tools in this cheat sheet are really important as well. So it's all the weird stuff that I bought for the shop, tool-wise, like the rivet drill adapter, a couple other tools, some hydraulic crimping tools for electrical wires. All that stuff is in here. And all you got to do is click on the link, fill out your name, email. It'll be sent right to your inbox. The website, awesome, Van Builder HQ. You can check on the blog posts, all the stuff, the articles that we've written on here. Yeah, and then also don't forget to check out Odyssey Custom Vans. That is my custom van conversion tour of the van that we're taking down to the expos is over here on the right-hand side. We've got all the information about the van right here. And then we've also got some photos. Now, there's some vinyl graphics on this van that you can't see in these photos because these photos were taken earlier. But just to get a good idea of what is included in the van, check out everything that's in here. Again, this link right here, that's what I put in the description to contact me. All right, guys, thanks so much once again. Thank you for all your questions and comments during the video. Stay tuned for the next live stream. We'll be finishing up this ceiling and moving on to the next part of this build. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next live stream.